Hello, how are you doing? Um, so I wanted to talk about my own journey with alcohol and basically how and why in my life I've chosen sobriety. Um, Now I say sobriety with an asterisk, and the asterisk is that sometimes I will have a drink, so I'm not technically sober. So I will choose to partake in drinking alcohol, having the drug, as it were, with other people. And occasions are normally I'll have a glass of wine, maybe at Christmas, a glass of champagne. I might have a glass of lovely Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc, maybe for my birthday. But other than that, I don't drink at all. And that has been that way pretty much for about 2 years in my life. I probably have about 3 or 4 drinks a year, and so the reason I've chosen this, well, there's lots and lots of benefits, as we know, to not drinking. But I'll just talk a little bit about my own journey with alcohol and how I got to where I am now. So when I was a child, I drank probably just at family celebrations. So we would drink something called Blue Nun. For those of a certain age, you probably know it's quite a sweet German wine. And we would drink that, at Christmas, maybe Easter, um, and occasionally I might have a glass of sherry with my grandparents. And that was pretty much it until I was about 17, 18. When I got into my late teens, we're talking the late 90s here, there was very much a movement of drinking like whiskies like Jack Daniels, Southern Comfort and Coke, vodkas. People tended to drink spirits because it was cheaper. And I must admit, I was really never into it whatsoever. I used to drink it just to copy my friends, but I didn't really enjoy the taste of it, if I'm honest. It just really wasn't something that I enjoyed. So I did it probably quite reluctantly. Didn't really enjoy drinking, but I did it because I thought it was cool. Everyone else did it. But really, it just wasn't for me. Anyway, I then discovered wine when I was about 23, 24. I'd just got a new job. I'd been on a couple of holidays to Spain, and I discovered that I really quite enjoyed drinking white wine, sometimes red wine. And it started out as quite an innocent thing. I would have like maybe 1 or 2 glasses with a meal. It would be, every couple of weeks maybe. It wouldn't be all the time. Me and my partner at the time, we would actually sit in bed and watch TV and share a bottle of wine. And it started out very, very innocently. But over many years, I would say over a period of about 10 years, that alcohol habit that started as a quite an innocent, not a deleterious thing at all, transpired into drinking every Friday and Saturday, and I could not go the weekend without drinking. And often it would be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Um, Sometimes I would start on a Wednesday, and I would just drink normally a bottle of wine every night, and I really looked forward to that. Um, didn't really get hangovers. Um, Occasionally might get a hangover, but I would drink the wine over a period of about 2 or 3 hours. I used to absolutely love it. I didn't think it was affecting my mental or physical health at all. It was something that I just did. By that time, I had a new partner, and we very much enjoyed wine together. But it was every weekend for a long time. I would say from about the age of 25 to about the age of 40, every weekend it was all about wine, about drinking. Not so that I was particularly tipsy. Sometimes I would get drunk, but it was just a regular thing every week, every Friday and Saturday. I could not go without a drink, and it was very much, I was stressed from work. Open the wine, get the wine out. Life's good. Anyway, by the time I got into my late 30s, I would say, and it was particularly when turning 40, alcohol just hit me differently. And I'm probably quite thankful that this actually happened. Sorry, the camera's going. I'm probably quite thankful that this happened and that, I had this kind of physiological reaction to alcohol because, but for that, I think I would have just carried on drinking. And it started to just cause incredible amounts of anxiety. So I would drink over the weekend and I would have anxiety, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, without doubt. I would have quite crippling, negative thoughts, very, very mood altering, I would say. Also, I would drink and I would really feel that my heart would race. I felt very jittery, kind of, and this I would say went on for about 1 or 2 years where I kind of ignored it and just kind of went through it. And I'm sure this has happened to other people where you have this habit and you think, oh, it'll be okay. But it got to the stage really where I was a gibbering wreck in terms of the alcohol. It had really started to have a negative impact on my life. I got to the stage where occasionally I would drink during the day. I'd have just a shot of brandy to kind of quell the nerves. And I realised that it was really bad. And this wasn't how I saw my life panning out, And I went from being, a complete non-drinker to then, having a habit and being dependent on it. And what was crazy for me is how it just crept up. It wasn't like an active thing. You would never have known that I had this issue, probably. I was just a social drinker, but I also drank at home. That's the other thing. I did drink at home, and I drank, every weekend, and it would be sometimes Wednesday, Thursday. Sunday was the worst night because I drank so much, and then I would drink again. And Monday, I would just feel awful, and I'd spend all of Monday kind of recovering, having these negative thoughts, and I just thought this is not what I want out of life. But anyway, I continued to do it. I continued during this period to be very fit, what I thought was fit. And then I had a real, I suppose it was a spiritual low where I think I went out with some friends and I'd been drinking quite a lot before that. And the worst part was when I would drink and then drink during the day after and I would feel awful. So this would happen at Christmas and I would just be really jittery, really, really just not with it. Anyway, I went out with some friends for a lovely Italian meal. I probably had 4 large glasses of quite strong wine, which back in the day wouldn't have hurt me at all. I would have been fine. I was probably about 40, 41 at this point. Anyway, the next day, first of all, I woke up in the night, heart racing, just, what's happening to me, really with feelings of doom. I was like, oh my God, here we go. Anyway, the next day, I was a quivering mess. I didn't know what was wrong with me. My whole nervous system had kind of gone into shock. And I was in a supermarket and I was with my partner and I literally said, I've got to get out of this supermarket now. I am feeling like feelings of doom. My heart was racing. And obviously this was the hangover. This was the anxiety, as they say. And yeah, it was just a huge wake-up call. And I went down from the supermarket into my car and I just had to do hyperventilation. I thought I was dying. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. Anyway, that was my low. And I decided thereon, however you want to say it, no more. I could not do this anymore. I think it's fallen over. Anyway, I didn't seek help. What I did is like a lot of people, I went on Amazon. I went on Amazon and I looked up alcohol dependency, looked up alcohol, And I found a book, and the book was called Alcohol Explained. And I probably read this about 2.5 years ago. And it basically explained this book, Alcohol Explained, um, all the physiological effects that alcohol has on your body and why you are dependent on it. And it explained to me quite simply, and probably the best explanation I've ever seen or read, that alcohol is very agitatory for your brain and it agitates you. And while you think you are relaxed, that relaxation from alcohol is only ever temporary because it is a depressant. And after that kind of relaxation, your brain bounces back because of homeostasis and you are more agitated than ever. And that was so true to how I was feeling. And that had never been the case when I was younger. I will say that when I started drinking, it did just relax me. There was no bounce back. But as I got into my late 30s, no way. It was just, it was basically almost making me mentally, not unstable, that's the wrong word, but it was really knocking off my mental clarity and that calmness that I'd had for a long time. And that was my kind of turning point. And I would say I cut down fairly, it was over the period of about 2 months where I would just have maybe 1 or 2 drinks a week. And then as I was drinking, I just thought, do I really want this? Is this, And then I just cut it out completely. And for me, initially it was hard, but then once I saw the benefits of it, I just thought there is no turning back. So the benefits to not drinking, there are so many, and I would particularly recommend this to people who are maybe over 35, men and women. I think you can probably get away with it. Not that you should drink loads, but you can probably get away with it until you're of a certain age. But I think past 35, you're going to have negative consequences no matter what you do, because your body, your physiology just can't deal with this poison in it. So there's so many benefits. The first benefit is sleep. Your sleep will improve so much. And by having good sleep, you will find other knock-on benefits in your life. You will feel better rested, better clarity. You'll wake up refreshed. How lovely to wake up with the whole day ahead of you, with a clear head. So sleep really does improve. And it improves, I would say, after about 2 weeks of sobriety, you'll have the best sleep that you've had in years. The second thing that's very good is it's very good for your mental calmness, your mental clarity. You will feel less stressed out, and it will kind of happen over a period of about, well, for me, it happened over a period of about 2 or 3 months where I just felt that those stress triggers were not as triggering anymore. And it literally was because I cut out alcohol. So you'll find less stress, less anxiety. Personally, I've never really suffered from depression, but I can imagine conversely, less depression, less kind of low mood from not drinking alcohol. So there's the sleep, there's the mental benefits, also physical benefits. So it is basically empty calories. And I found that I lost fat, my skin improved, and I just felt so much better from not drinking alcohol. Also my liver obviously benefited because I've been processing this poison for all these years. So my skin cleared up. My skin was, I suppose, less kind of puffy. I know other people who drink and their skin always looks very puffy. So yeah, it really helped my skin. And just better, I would say better cardiovascular fitness. It really reduces your blood pressure, and you will just feel some real benefits. The other thing I would say is alcohol destroys testosterone. It's not very good for men over 35. We're trying to optimize our testosterone, and you're never going to do that if you're drinking alcohol. So I found that my libido's gone up. I have better muscle tone. I have better workouts, better strength. So really, it's a win-win for me. There are days when I really fancy, for me, it was always a cold drink. So now I just enjoy a nice cold drink most days on ice, and I'll have maybe an appetizer with a squeeze of lime in it. There's some really good mocktails that you can get. I really enjoy non-alcoholic beer. Or I'll just have some water. But yeah, sometimes, we all fancy a drink, especially the weather's been so hot recently. So, I'll enjoy, a nice cold non-alcoholic beer. But yeah, do some of your own research. And there's a lot of people out there who are alcohol dependent. They're not necessarily alcoholics, but they're alcohol dependent. And so many of us are in this position where we feel like we have this habit, but we don't really know what to do. The first thing I would say is do some research. For me, I read a book, and the book was all I needed. I know other people may need more therapy. They might go to AA. They might do whatever it is. But take a step back and kind of analyze what you're doing. That's the most important thing. And from there, you can move forward. I think when you're in this circle, this cycle of just drinking and this dependency, it's quite hard to see the wood from the trees. So yeah, take your time, and believe me, it's I wouldn't say it's necessarily an easy journey, but it's very easy now to not drink, knowing how much better I feel in life for not drinking alcohol. And yeah, it's like rewinding really back into my late teens and 20s when I just had early 20s, when I had a lot more mental clarity, a lot better fitness, and I just felt great about life. And I think alcohol, yeah, it's not great for having a great attitude on life. No matter what anyone says, being sober and just having this mental calmness and mental clarity is just a beautiful thing. And for me, it's priceless. It's just it's kind of my superpower now, not having that kind of up and down of emotions, which is what alcohol causes to me. It's a bit like an emotional roller coaster. So anyway, that's my journey with alcohol, and yeah, I would just recommend people to look into cutting down your alcohol significantly, because I really do think you'll see a lot of health benefits from it. All right, take care. Bye.